Ready? Start. There is hardly any point in oversimplifying the problem as is sometimes done. For instance, some advocate that the rate of expansion of higher education should be greatly restricted through a system of selective admission, show that higher education will again have the same scarcity value which it once did. This may also have the dubious political advantage that it will substitute the rural uneducated unemployed who is comparatively docile and inconspicuous for the urban educated unemployed who is vocal and turbulent and who insists on being noticed. It is true that there will have to be some restriction on expansion of higher education, especially because of the constraints involved in maintaining adequate standards. But we must keep two main considerations before us. The first is that higher education is a great instrument of social change and that it must be spread increasingly among those social groups and in those areas of the country where it has not made adequate progress so far. Secondly, we cannot say that India is by any means an overeducated nation at present. The number of university graduates in our country is far too small in comparison with that in the industrially advanced countries. It must be further realized that our first degree in arts, commerce, or science is a degree more or less by courtesy. The Shadler Commission pointed out long ago that much of what we call higher education in India is really equivalent to school education. This observation is even truer today than it was 50 years ago. It is really our second degree in these facilities that is generally equal to the first degree in these faculties that is generally equal to the first degree in the advanced countries. If proper allowance is made for this equivalence, there is a strong case for continuing the expansion of higher education. This is therefore not a case of quantity or quality. We shall have to strive for both quantity and quality. In my view, we will have to launch a multi pronged attack on this difficult and complex problem. In the first place, we shall have to emphasize the maintenance of adequate standards. There is no longer any room for the old naive belief that all education is good. We must now realize that education, especially higher education, is a double edged weapon. If it is good quality, it can be the most powerful tool of national development in the country. But if its standards are unsatisfactory, it may create social disorganization and lead the country downhill. Secondly, we must radically alter the content of our degree courses and orient them to the present day needs and problems show that they become more useful and effective. Thirdly, we must make a social and community approach to education to supplement the individual approach to which we have been accustomed so far. In the past, it was enough to get a young man into an engineering college and send him out with a good degree in his subject. But this is hardly enough at present, and while we are training a young man to be a good engineer, we must simultaneously take steps to build up the industries in which he can find adequate employment. In other words, a large and intensive program of national reconstruction has to be developed side by side with our plans of educational expansion. These programs are by no means easy to develop, but nothing worthwhile is ever easy. The significance of these measures is obvious and they will therefore have to be developed intensively. This will need a large increase in our investment in higher education. But what is even more important, it will need better planning and dedicated and sustained effort on the part of our teachers and students. Our universities and colleges will have to abandon the ivory tower existence to which they are largely accustomed and relate their programs of teaching and research intimately to the life needs and aspirations of the people. In addition to training and research, which are their traditional functions and whose performance should be improved, they will not have to assume responsibility for worthwhile and challenging programs of adult education and social or national service in which their students and teachers would be effectively involved. This will enable them to send our year after year large bands of young men and women who are competent, dedicated to the service of their country, imbued with a sense of social responsibility and committed to national development. In its turn, this will help the nation to prosper and the economy to grow, so that there will be more and better employment opportunities for the increasing number of young men and women who will continue to flow out of the institutions of higher education. A golden circle can thus set in a vigorous action for self improvement by universities and colleges, accelerating economic growth and national progress, and these, in their turn, leading to larger investment of resources in higher education for future and its a still further development both in quantity and quality. Stop.